What we're going to take a look at today is the idea that we can actually build blues licks out of chord tones. Not just the minor pentatonic scale, but actually we can take the notes out of the chord that we're playing over. So we're going to just deal with one chord today. We're going to deal with A7, which is like if you're playing like a Jimmy Reed kind of thing, or jump blues. Right, that's typically, it's a dominant chord, even though I just played a 6 chord there, but it's a dominant chord sound. Right, and your pentatonic scale doesn't entirely fit that chord sound because we've got a major third in the chord, we've got a minor third and a fourth in that minor pentatonic, right? And we'll talk later on about how to make that fit. But for today, we're actually going to just take a look at how we can use the chord tones to build our basic ideas. And this works really good not only for straight ahead blues or Chicago style electric blues, but it also works really good for jump blues as well and jazzier stuff. We're going to start off just with the A chord to start with, just to kind of take a look at these notes. We have A, C sharp, E, and then A again. So A is the root, C sharp is the third, major third, E is the fifth. And then we've got a root again right here. Now, don't worry if you don't know your theory. We're just giving names to these things to help you identify what they are and what we can do with them. And then when we deal with the stuff in other positions, it's easier to move your ideas. So the first thing is if we just play the... It's pretty boring. There's no blues in that. The very first thing we can do is we can take the third note of the arpeggio and approach it from a half step below. That sounds very much like Eric Clapton or Freddie King going. Right? It's just the idea that we always approach the third from below, whether it's sliding into it, or if we're playing more like a piano player or maybe a horn player can't bend notes, we'll play the minor third, which is the note below it, and we approach from above. So even if we're coming down, we'll approach from the lower note. We're not going to go, that doesn't sound bluesy. We can actually use that more for country, but that's a whole nother lesson. As far as today's idea, there's our first lick. Now the next note that we're going to add in here is going to be the sixth note of the scale. Right? And what's cool about that is that if we had all chord tones, including the minor 7, all those notes are, they're in the chord. You know, they really don't provide any interest. But if we play the 6, we actually have a note that allows us to move around. But it's not quite right. You know, it fits, but it's not actually in the chord. So we actually have the ability to make melodies out of it. So you could take it and do our first lick, root, minor, third, third, 5, 6, root. All right, you could go down. Notice that I actually went down, but I still approached the third from below. I didn't go. You could actually just make simple ideas. Alright, and that's just all in that one position. Kind of sounds like 50s jump blues or a saxophone lick or something. We can take those ideas, the 6, we could move that down an octave. Right, so that gives us kind of a little bit of different things. So I'm sliding into the third, root, 6, root. So I played the idea in the lower octave. And then I kind of played something similar in the upper octave using the 6. And that actually gave me the idea of a developed lick. It's an idea that we repeated but changed a little bit. Right, so right there, root 6, I put the 5 in there, just like root 6, 5. What you're going to start seeing is that you can repeat ideas all right, and now you have another avenue for development, things that you can actually do later on. We can actually use this octave jumping idea all kinds of ways. All right, so that's the next things. We've got the sixth. So we've got minor third third. We've added the sixth. We're playing it in the lower octaves. Now we've got our first bit of notes here, and then we also have it an octave lower in the same position. So any idea you play here, you know what they are here because you actually know what the names of those notes are in terms of what we call the scale or the chord degrees. Those numbers I'm giving you: root, 6, 5, and then into the 3 and then root. So root, 6, 5, into the 3 root. Right? So keep that in mind. The other thing that we can also try and add right now is the ninth. Right? I wouldn't sit on that note very long. It's not a chord tone, and it's one note away from a chord tone. But it makes a great place to actually to bounce off of in order to like give your melody a little bit more length. I wouldn't sit on that note, like I said, unless I was planning on resolving it, creating a little tension that way. All right, that note is also down here. In this position, you actually almost like the whole bluegrass kind of idea. You got root, 2, minor third, third, 5, 6, 5, root. So you learned a little bluegrass today too.